Over the past 15 years, I've managed to achieve quite a few qualifications related to financial planning and advice. Now, some people may call me a genius, but actually, I've failed quite a few of those exams along the way. So today, I thought I'd do a short video about my top 5 tips for passing exams. So number 1, have a study plan. As they say, it all starts with a plan. And whether your exam is 6 weeks away or 6 months away, it's crucial to make sure that you have your plan written down somewhere. And I often break mine down into months, weeks, and individual days, making sure that I give myself plenty of time off to recover in between those heavy study sessions. Remember, your plan needs to be flexible because, as we know, life can get in the way. So make sure that your plan doesn't overwhelm you and that you have the flexibility to take days off here and there. And when things go wrong, such as getting sick or having to travel or something else cropping up, you've got the flexibility within your plan to make it work. The other piece of advice I would give is to limit how much you do each day. For me, a maximum of about 90 minutes each day before my head starts to explode. So make sure that you have given yourself sufficient time off during the day, during the week, during the month, so that the information goes in and stays in. Tip number 2 is study notes. So now you've got your plan in place, it's important to go through and skim read the material to make sure you know what's in front of you, and then to start making your study notes on that material. In terms of skim reading, this can take a couple of days or a couple of weeks, depending on how much material there is. And once I've read the material in full, I then start going through chapter by chapter, making notes on each individual section and highlighting the important points that I know I will need to remember to pass the exam. As I go through the chapters, making my notes, I often use mnemonics to help me remember certain things, and we'll come on to those next. Tip number 3, mnemonics. And if you haven't heard of a mnemonic before, it's a way of remembering several bits of information by taking the first letter from each of the words to create a word, or by using a phrase that acts as a prompt. Let me give you an example of a mnemonic. Let's say you're trying to remember the names of the Great Lakes in America. Try and use the word homes, H-O-M-E-S. And each of those letters is the starting letter for the word you need to remember. So H is for Huron, O is for Ontario, M is for Michigan, and so on. If you remember the word homes, you should be able to remember the lakes of America. I find mnemonics are a very useful way of remembering large bits of information that you need for an exam. And if you haven't tried making up a mnemonic before, give it a go. Tip number 4 is past papers and practice questions. So now you've got your plan in place, you've read through the notes, you've made your own notes, and you've come up with some mnemonics, and you've a good idea what's in front of you. Now it's time to start doing some past papers and some previous questions to help you understand the material, help you understand what kind of questions they're going to ask, and also help you to understand how to answer those questions. A quick example is an exam I did recently where there were lots of double negative questions in there. So by practicing and reading and understanding how these questions are asked, and importantly, making sure not to jump in to answer the question too quickly, was a crucial part of helping me pass the exam. And whilst that may sound obvious, it often trips people up. So practice those questions, do the past papers, and hopefully that'll help you pass the exam. So here's my best tip for exam success. The day before your exam, take the day off. That's right. My advice to anyone sitting an exam is to take the day before your exam off. And that's simply because trying to cram any information into your brain the day before the exam can actually have the opposite effect and can cause confusion. So instead, rather take the day off, have a good night's rest, wake up with a clear head and go into the exam with a real focus, knowing that all the hard work has been done and you're ready to ace the exam. These are my 5 tips for passing an exam. And if you enjoyed that, click the button below and subscribe. Thanks for watching.